Hello, and welcome to Strategy Stories from the Real World, a series where we look at how leaders in everyday organizations make tough and thoughtful strategic decisions. My name is Erica Olson, and I'll be today's host. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to our newest series focused on leading strategy and growth. We'll interview different leaders who are driving strategy, growth, and ultimately results for their organizations. We'll dig deep into the insights and how their leadership creates impact. Today's guest is one of my favorite leaders, Maja Karabeg. Maja co-founded Authority Partners with her husband Errol in 1998 to help organizations around the globe build and deliver custom software and IT solutions. She successfully scaled their organization worldwide across more than 30 countries. So let's say that Maja has been part of the remote work environment a lot longer than most of us. As a woman leading teams and organizations in technology and software since the 90s, she's often been a woman leading teams in a male-dominated industry. However, her dedication and hard work have helped her become a well-versed leader who knows the difference between business fads and keystones of great strategy and great leadership. We are so excited to share Maja's unique perspective and her story as one of our favorite women in strategy. Maja, thank you so much for being here today. I know you're hailing from sunny California. How are you this morning?
I'm great. Thank you so much, for having me. I'm really very impressed and I'm glad that you decided to invite me.
Absolutely. As I mentioned in the intro, we have had the pleasure and honor to work with Authority Partners, Maja and her husband Errol for 3 or 4, maybe working on 5 years. And it has just been such a cool journey. So tell me, you've been with Authority Partners and started Authority Partners 24 years ago. That's such an accomplishment. Share a little bit with our listeners about your leadership style.
I think when it comes to leadership style, it's kind of influenced by our personality. And a couple of years ago, as a team, we did all kind of testing that are related to personality type, including the business chemistry by Deloitte, and including and regarding all these testing. So I go to the category of people who are defined as drivers. And so what's specific for drivers, they are logical and they are focused, they are competitive, they are quantitative, they like data, they embrace risk, they decide quickly, they brush off mistakes, calls the shots and try it out. And I think that I'm pretty well defined, by these attributes. So I can say that I feel as a driver.
And how does it feel to be part of your organization?
I feel that, I hope it feels good. We've been around for a while, like we established Authority Partners in the United States more than 24 years ago, but we are still growing. I think it's a great place for someone who really loves IT and who is excited and about personal growth and development.
I think that's so true. And one of the things I always appreciate on being calls with Maja is, and we know when she's not on the calls, our leadership calls, is just always bringing in that personal, the people piece. I always know when you're on the call, we can count on you to say, what about this? Are we thinking about that as it relates to care and feeding of the team and the staff and the employees? So that's my reflection back to you about how it feels to be in your organization.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So you have an amazing story. Just give our listeners a little bit of an insight about Authority Partners. How did you get here? Walk us down memory lane.
So I have a background in computer science, and that was more than 30 years ago when I graduated. And I started working in Errol's first startup, like in June of this year. We celebrated 31 years of working together. So that's how it started. And then fast forward, then 3 different countries. So we are that today in in beautiful California. Our authority partners, as I mentioned, was established in the United States like more than 24 years ago. And we started kind of small. And then 17 years ago, we opened our first technology center in our homeland, Bosnia and Herzegovina. 2-3 years ago, we opened a technology center in Istanbul, Turkey. And then maybe 4 or 5 years ago, we started creating clusters of consultants around the world. And at this point, we have consultants collaborating with us from 30 different countries around the world. So it's pretty, dynamic and an exciting stories. So far, I've been really enjoying this journey.
That's so cool. So now, share the stats with us. You're in, as I like to say, rarefied air. You're part of a very small contingent of organizations that's been around for a long time, and the size that you are. How big is Authority Partners right now?
By this point, Authority Partners is over 500 consultants strong, as I said, from 5 different continents in 13 time zones. What we really like and that we are truly global. It's not because we have the teams, we organize in teams and we follow agile methodology. And the members of the teams are very often from different, parts of the world and from different countries, but they still collaborate on daily basis and they are still somehow virtually together.
Yeah, absolutely. And founder-led, bootstrapped, getting it done through all of the crazy stuff that the world has been throwing at us lately and before.
Yeah, that's true.
That's so cool.
But so far we are all doing well, so let's stay positive.
That's right. That's awesome. So tell us, what are your proudest moments that you'll cherish forever?
I have many proud moments, from the past. Maybe the latest, when I was thinking about something. So the first thing that came to my mind, I believe last year we were celebrating Authority Partners anniversary, and our team created the short videos with like 7-8 consultants from different countries sending greetings in their local languages. So our company language is English, and of course we communicate on daily basis. But the moment when I saw these beautiful and smart people talking in their natural, their local natural languages, it really hit me. I just understand how beautiful school is this. We are working with all these people, and we are truly global. And sometimes they're saying something I don't even understand. So that was really, really, beautiful moment for me, because as I said, I think by working on daily basis with people from different cultures, so we get the opportunity to learn more about our backgrounds, our countries, our culture, our beliefs, and by that, I like to believe that we tear down many stereotypes and biases, and in some way we are helping the world to be the better place. That's what I like to believe.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, reflecting on your position and your business, it is from the culture of Bosnia and Herzegovina as the roots of yourself and Errol, and also it is technology is somewhat male dominated, probably still. It's changing, right? But so is sort of that part of the world as well. How does it feel to be a female leader through the transitions that have been decades of working in this space?
It's kind of interesting because I never feel about myself that I'm different because I'm female. I guess I have a strong personality, and I had great support as I was growing up when I knew that girls can do whatever they want. So I never felt that problem, and I always had a great support, and I always loved that female energy. And as you know, at Authority Partners, we have many females on very high positions. When it comes to our leadership team, we are kind of almost equal. I think at this point we are like 60-40, and I think for one IT company, that's just fantastic. And also when it comes to our consultants, we have the large number of women in authority partners. We just have less of them when it comes to external consultants, maybe because of the type of the engagement. But our employees in Bosnia and Herzegovina and Turkey, and also here in the United States, so we have many females. So I really never felt that gap. So I always felt very comfortable, and I'm huge, supporter of girl power.
Yeah.
I like to mentor girls, and I'm always available to help, because I feel that I do understand what does it mean to be the female in the IT world.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm so passionate about women in leadership as well, and how we what our stance is, whether we think about that or we don't, quite frankly. We're just a member of the team, like, and regardless of the gender. I think something I'm always curious about is, what would I tell my younger self that I might do differently, or maybe punch up? And so I'm curious, what would you tell your younger self about your leadership, about your journey, about maybe what you would have done different or what you would have done more of?
Actually, what I would tell myself is something that my therapist told me about 10, 15 years ago. And I wish she told me that earlier. She told me that you can have everything in life, but not at the same time. As a woman in technology and as a businesswoman, and what she was thinking, when she said that, like, we play different roles in our lives. We are mothers, we are wives, we are sisters, we are daughters, we are friends, we are also businesswomen. And sometimes, you have to shift priorities when the kids are younger. And that's the time when I was really stressed out, because I was trying to figure out how to have all these things at the same time. And that was very, very hard, because we have just 24 hours in the day. And I wish I knew that that will come to the point as it now. Our kids are young adults. They don't live with us anymore. So I have way more time to be the businesswoman that I used to have before. So if I knew that, before, I think that I would be a little bit more chill. Because I would know, my time is coming. One day I'll be able to do more of some other things that at this point, like, for a couple of years, being mother was very, very important. And I wish I knew that, so that would be help me, just to relax and chill.
I love that. I think I need to chill a little bit more too. That's great. That's so cool. So tell me, we're talking about women in leadership. So what do you think has made your approach to leadership effective?
So it's not to me for me to say how effective I am. I hope I am effective. But there are a couple of things, that are, in my opinion, are very important. First, I'll start with communication. I think when communicating, you need to be honest and transparent. Somehow we always feel the truth. Even if you're not saying it, we feel it. So transparent and honest conversation is really the best. You say whatever it is, but you just say it. When it comes to people and generally leading the people or being the group of people, I think it's very important to be compassionate. One size doesn't fit all. We are all very different. And I think it's good to be aware of your personality type and personality types of the people in your team, because that way you're going to be able to understand better why you are, behaving the way that you are behaving, and why they are behaving the way they're behaving. Sometimes we can train ourselves, to somehow avoid shortcomings that and flaws in our personality type. So that's why it's very important to be able to see the things from the standpoint of the other person and show compassion.
Yeah.
And of course, the one that maybe the last important things is like the competence. So you really need to know what you are doing, and you need to demonstrate over and over again if you want people really to believe in you. And when you put in yourself in the position, to be the leader, so it's part of your job to create that kind of culture, and especially in moment of crisis, that you show that you are collected, that you are calm, and that you know what you are doing, even if you don't.
That's right. That's right. I often say sometimes we need to fake it till we make it. Right? And maybe that is always a journey and a progress, for sure. But I love that, and I think that is a really clear trait that comes through in your leadership, particularly in the work that we've done together, the piece on compassion and really thinking about, yeah, like you said, not one size fits all, and how do we help move the organization forward, knowing that it is really about the people. I think that is
Exactly.
something that I always hear you say, and it's just so true. So, and it's clearly, clearly you all are doing something right because the organization is growing and is, is engaging as many consultants around the world as you are and clients, which is so cool. So,
Thank you.
so my one last question, we could talk for hours, of course. I love it.
know.
One last question, of course, our followers love tips and takeaways, and you shared a lot of really cool ideas. But if you were to like take one nugget or piece of wisdom or tip that you would share with emerging leaders, what would it be?
So first, that depends how far and how fast you want to go. So in our
Mm.
case, it was more as a marathon than the sprint because we started working more than 30 years ago. So it was in some or other way, it was always the same company. We just changed countries. And so, as I said, it was a marathon. And I think it's very important to pick the vision that's kind of inspiring and that's strong, that's bold. And that's something, and as you grow as a company and as you grow as a person, it's important that you stay in touch with your why, that you remind yourself very often why you're doing that. And then that you surround yourself with the people who know how you're gonna execute and put in motion your why. So this is like there are many things that played important role, but vision and that's your why staying alive and present, and of course the great team of people around you who believe in your why and who are going to be able to support you. And of course at the end of the day, we all need to enjoy this ride, because what's the point if we don't love it and we don't enjoy it.
That is so true. I've been thinking a lot about that lately too, about enjoying the ride. Because sometimes it can feel like a grind, and sometimes we can lose touch with our why, actually. Yeah, I love that. That's so great. Okay, so we're going to leave it there. For all of our listeners, I know we were jotting down notes. I'm just going to say, yeah, let's stay connected with our why. Maja, such an amazing story. I look forward to working together for the next big chapter of Authority Partners. Who knows where it could go? Thank you for sharing your wisdom today.
Thank you so much for having me, Erica.
Hey, Erica from On Strategy here. We just heard some of Maja's favorite leadership tips. Let's recap them really fast. Lesson number 1, have a bold vision. We talk a lot about that. It's one of our favorites. Lesson 2, a marathon focus. Maja reminds us that running a business is a marathon, not a sprint. Always, always, always connect to the why. Particularly right now, everybody wants to be connected with their bigger purpose and why we're working in organizations every day. Number 4, surround yourself with people who know how. After all, strategy gets executed and visions get achieved when we execute the how, and we know how to do the how. And number 5, which I love, is enjoy the ride. It's a long journey, so make sure that you have a smile on your face. Thanks for tuning in. If you like our content, please subscribe. We do drop videos every week. Happy strategizing.